Welcome to The Advisory, the first and last advice show on the internet, where we answer questions to learn a little bit more about what it means to be human. All advice is final and legally binding. Can I see the disclaimer?
You can
And
see it with your
can I hear
eyes
it? Can I
and
still
hear
hear it?
and hear it with your ears.
The following show features goofs performed either by professionals or under the supervision of professionals. Accordingly, Black Swan Society and the idiots in front of you must insist that no one attempt to actually follow any advice spewed into the world on this show.
Oh, isn't it?
I like how professional her blazer is. She's
Yeah.
very she's sort of very good. For a show that is two absolute Muppets hanging out and slanging advice,
Yeah.
she's very professional.
David, I love a log line, okay? Log line.
Hey, you're famously a marketing boy. You love a log line. You love a subtitle, if you will.
Absolutely. And for those who don't know, a log line, it's a brief summary of a TV show, film, or book that states the central conflict of the story, usually giving both a synopsis and the story's plot with a nice little emotional hook that piques your interest.
Give me a story. I'll give you a log line.
Harry Potter and the one with the rock that makes him young and the guys on the back of his head.
Oh, the first one. 11-year-old boy discovers he's a wizard and must navigate the perils of a magical school while trying to outsmart an evil wizard.
Oh, fuck. That's good, cunt. That is, that is good. Wow. I wish I had a little round of applause button that I could do.
Thank you.
Let's go with Jumanji.
Fuck. Two friends discover a board game. Two friends discover a forgotten board game in the attic and begin to play. They quickly discover the board game can affect and shape reality, and they must contend with the creatures and the dangers within while trying to befriend a child who fell into the board game decades prior. Played by Robin Williams.
Where do I sign to give you my money? I want to see this film. You've sold me. You've sold me again, David.
And Robin Williams is the guy that they're trying to befriend.
Now, I don't know if you know about this, but every year there's something called the Hollywood Blacklist that gets published. And
the what? The Blacklist?
The Blacklist it's an annual list of the best unproduced screenplays of that year that sort of spent the year circulating through Hollywood.
I've never heard of this.
They're voted on by a jury of over 300 film executives. And the Blacklist has famously produced several scripts that went on to be made into Best Picture winners, including Spotlight, Argo, and Slumdog Millionaire.
I guess that was going to be my question. What happens to them after?
They make it on the silver screen and we get captivated. Or
have I told you
someone buys them and it never gets made, or no one buys it and it fades into obscurity.
Or even better, someone does buy it, and then as the film gets made, corporate overture and control suffocates the original vision to the point where it's unrecognizable. Capitalism, baby.
That is option 4. Yeah.
I don't know who it was. I deeply apologize because I cannot remember where I heard this. But I remember someone saying, "My dad hates films." This was recently. This could have been a podcast I listened to, a show I watched, a human being I know. I couldn't tell you. But recently someone said, My dad hates films. The only film he likes is Slumdog Millionaire because he understands Who Wants to Be a Millionaire so he can follow it." Which I think is the most profound realization of all time. That a dad is like, I don't like films, I find them confusing. But I understand Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, so I like that Slumdog film.
That's heinous to me. I was talking to someone recently about someone was talking about things that they like and are interested in. And two of the things that they said were, I like music and I like fun. And I said, no.
No. You can't. Sorry.
No.
Sorry. And so I'm just going to check the list.
Yep.
List of interests that exist. Music. Oh, that's on there.
Mhm,
What I'm
yep.
not seeing on here is fun. Because that's an experience, not an interest.
Right.
So
But
it's not on the list of interests.
Yeah, but I get that you're saying that, but one of my passions is fun. So
James, that's like saying one of your passions is adventure. That's not anything. That's not anything. Stop putting it on your Tinder profile.
Honestly,
it's nothing.
It's like saying, I don't know if you know this about me, but I enjoy food. Oh, what a unique insight. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sorry, you enjoyed the thing you have to consume to stay up.
To sustain
Actually,
life, yeah.
I'm pretty hit or miss on food, but oxygen, big fan. One of my main interests is oxygen.
That's up there. That's up there for me.
I'm breathing it right now. That's how into it I am.
I don't understand how someone comes along and says that they don't like movies. That's a very strange thing to me.
But then also to be like,
guys, I love, but I love pictures, okay, and I love story, you know, a little bit, and I love sound. All of those three things, great, love them all. But for some reason, when you start layering those together, and you start to add a little bit of motion to the pictures, and maybe inject some sound relevant to the moving pictures, and perhaps even some type of underlying story, disgusting. Give me my game shows. The cunt's got $2 million in briefcase number 15, and I fucking bet my life on it, cunt.
It's a weird. And you know what, James? I would love to tell you where I heard that. I would love to tell you where I heard that, just to kind of communicate
said it to you right before you fucking planted a shovel into the back of their head and then buried their body in the middle of the desert.
Where I heard it. And I don't know how that's possible. Like, ontologically, I don't know how that. It might have been, if I had to guess, if I had to be like, who is the weirdest person I know, it might have been Ryan from Funhouse talking about his dad. That's the only person I could think of that I sort of consume frequently who may that's a bit. I mean, it could have been anyone. Okay, so
well, we love movies here. Fuck that guy, because we love movies here.
We love films. We love films so much and so hard that I did a podcast for 7 years about films, right? Like,
definitely. I did one very briefly for I think about a year called Weekly Rentals.
I remember.
Great title, great artwork. I'll say that.
Really good artwork.
Yeah, the content of the show could have used some work, but we had a fun time doing it.
Could have used some. Yeah, it could have used a little bit of production, but it was.
You weren't walking away with anything. You weren't walking away with any sort of like new insight or sort of, you know, a take on, you know, no, we weren't talking about like, all the, no, I don't know if you know this, but in the film Psycho, she is actually wearing black bras up until a certain point. And there's a deep underlying meaning about how it was really more of like, recalling things that happened in the movie and having a bit of a chuckle about it.
This scene? I like that scene.
Yeah.
Y'all were doing the high school film experience where you walk out of a film and you're like, what was your best bit?
And maybe goofing on how you can improve some aspects. You know, a fun jaunt. So I want to hit you with some log lines from the Blacklist that got me juiced. Okay.
Okay. Oh
yes.
So we got these are like these are. Now, do we know if these like how do the awards work? Are they like multiple winners? Like, are they ranked? Like, do we have like a heuristic for what Hollywood thought of these? They
go through, you know, 300 film executives. They all vote on which ones they like, and then the top ones, I don't know how they determine that, get put onto this list. And there was 74 of them for 2022 or whatever.
Okay. I'm gonna rank these log lines.
Okay.
They're going to get one of three scores.
Okay.
it's either gonna be the Batman, which means I'm so excited I want to pee myself.
You couldn't go for a simple system like want to see it, gotta need it, and throw it in the bin.
Nope. So the Batman, which is I want to see it so bad.
Sorry, really quickly. Everyone, pull out your fucking pen and paper, okay? And David's going to explain to you his very obscure system for how we're going to mark how badly he wants to or doesn't want to see these movies based on the log line. So write down, draw a little Batman on your little piece of paper there. And now David's going to explain what the fuck that means. Yeah.
It's actually really simple. It goes in order, the Batman, Avatar, and Avatar 2.
Okay, and what do they mean exactly? So
the Batman is I want to see it real bad. The Avatar is that sounds interesting. And Avatar 2 is I could care less. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not interested.
And just not interested. And you don't want to throw any of them in the bin. You're just not interested.
So here's the thing about art. Make whatever you want, but I'm not just, it's to me.
You might be the wrong audience.
Interested.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, it's whatever. Not interested.
This one's called The Midnight Pool.
Ooh.
Burdened by the loss of his wife to a suicide cult, an embittered investigative journalist infiltrates an elite secret society only to find something far more sinister.
Avatar. That sounds pretty interesting.
Avatar? That's a Batman! That's a Batman.
I knew that this was going to piss you off, this ranking system. That is a Batman. I'm
That's a
fucking with
Batman.
you. The second you said it, it was a Batman. Yeah, of course it's a Batman.
This one is Vitus or Vitus, V-I-T-U-S. In 1518, a dancing plague overtook the city of Strasbourg in the Holy Roman Empire. Hundreds of people danced themselves to death over the course of a summer, and no one knows why. Encircling medieval medicine, the uncanny, and the origins of mass hysteria, Vitus is a wildly visual exploration of a crucial but little-known moment in European history.
2 Batmans. What? That sounds fucking sick.
The
dancing plague? Are you? What is that?
It's real,
bro.
This happened. Yes.
Hang on. Wait.
Google,
I'm giving
Google
it a
the dancing plague.
Oh my god.
This shit is Footloose meets The Happening.
The outbreak began in July 1518 when a woman began to dance fervently in the street in Strasbourg. By early September, the outbreak began to subside. Historical documents, including physical notes, cathedral sermons, local and regional chronicles, and even notes issued by the Strasbourg City Council, are clear that the victims danced. It is not known why. Historical sources agree there was an outbreak of dancing after a single woman started dancing, and the dancing did not seem to die down. It lasted for such a long time that it even attracted the attention of the magistrate and the bishop, and some number of doctors ultimately intervened, putting the afflicted in the hospital?
Yeah, it says that contemporary explanations for the dancing plague included demonic possession and overheated blood, and as many as 100 people died.
That's so fascinating.
That's super interesting, right? That's a Batman.
So interesting. That's a Batman. That's 2 Batmans. I'm changing the system. I could double down on Batmans if I need to.
It also says investigators in the 20th century suggested that the afflicted might have consumed bread made from rye flour contaminated with the fungal disease ergot or ergo. So either way, double Batmans. We want to see it. Make this movie happen.
Maybe they were just like, they were all just like new boot goofing. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was. I think the trees turned evil, and they pollinated evil kill yourself juice out into the air, obviously, and then that went into their noses, aka The Happening. And then The Happening, Mark Wahlberg, pretty sure, don't know. And then they footloose themselves to death.
That's Marky Mark, yeah.
So these ones are
giving me an idea. Yeah, that's yeah, okay. That's gave me an idea for next week. I'm writing it down.
These ones I'm far less juiced for, and these are really because I just wanted to get your take on them.
Okay. Well, you know, I'm a pretentious snob, so I'm interested to see what these are.
Subversion. When her family is abducted, a disgraced submariner must pilot a narco submarine to its destination in less than 8 hours, or her husband and daughter will be killed.
Avatar 2. Not interested.
It's Speed. That is Speed 2 cruise control
Speed
meets
underwater.
Taken. That's Speed underwater meets Taken, is what that is.
It is a film that my dad would love.
Oh yeah, I think my dad would probably froth that one, to be honest.
What was the? Sorry, was it a female pilot?
Yes. Oh, when her family is abducted, a disgraced submariner must pilot a narco submarine to its destination in less than 8 hours.
Yeah.
Or her husband and daughter will be killed.
My dad would love that, and he would dote on the fact that, like, you know, the old war films, it was always men and the protagonist. It's nice to have a woman, you know, in the main character seat. And I'd be like, I don't disagree. You know,
and I'm over here saying gender swap Speed, Taken. So,
oh my god, can we? I don't know. Do we have the budget in Black Swan to gender swap Speed and make that? Because I would. Can we do that? Do we have the money? Because that would be fucking sick.
Who plays Keanu? Who plays Keanu in gender swap Speed?
Emily Blunt.
Okay. Who's driving the bus then?
James, who plays the bus driver? Cut this out. Who plays the bus driver? I've forgotten.
In the Sandra Bullock.
We just get Keanu Reeves to do it?
We'll get Keanu back, yeah. Like, but it will specifically be called Speed 3, and it will be very confusing because it has nothing to do with the first two
confusing.
films. Yeah.
What if we get the guy? We'll get the kid who was Han Solo, Alden Ehrenreich. He's a really great actor. He's a really interesting kind of performer. We'll get him.
Yeah, fucking Adam Driver. So this one's called
Alden Adam Driver.
Yeah, but yeah, I want Adam Driver. So
that hit me a few seconds too late. Sorry.
Dying for You. Okay. A low-level worker on a spaceship run by a dark god must steal the most powerful weapon in the universe to save his workplace crush.
Ooh, see, up until the pitch of like the hook, up until the pitch of like the narrative, I was like, low-level worker, space station, yep, like some mundane story about like work and like the nature of labor, and like, you know, it's a story about like humanizing workers and understanding that, like, you know, corporations are the enemy, and then you kept talking, and so it went from like what happened was the first half of it was like a Batman times 5, and then it became an Avatar times 10, because it sounds fine, but it's not that I'm not interested. It's just they kind of ruined it by making it. When you said the most powerful in the universe, my brain kind of shut down.
Right. Where you started to take that initially was I thought that you were gonna switch it into being, you know, a Star Trek like future where they've eradicated the need for money, and
scarcity.
Right. I thought you were gonna pose a story where a low-level worker is working on a spaceship, and he's one of the people who isn't lucky enough to live in this utopian, you know, moneyless society. He's still one of the people who is essentially enslaved to continue working.
That's sort of what I'm imagining. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Really quickly. Best game of last year. This is a quick aside. Best video game of last year. You don't have to be a gamer to enjoy this. Was Citizen Sleeper, and it is a story about the corporatization of existence, where you are a hang on, I can do a log line for this. Give me a second. Come on, brain. So you play a sleeper who is a android replicant of someone who sold their identity to a corporation. Who, you know, they basically, like, they sell a copy of their identity to a corporation, and they kind of reproduce it infinitely to do labor. And you've escaped from the corporation, and you're dying because the corporation's the only place where you can get the drug that keeps you alive. And you find yourself on the space station outside of their control, and you have to kind of work through the politics and the gangs and this, that, and the fifth thing of this space station. And what it ends up being is this like deeply beautiful game about, you know, you have to rely on people and learn to trust people you know, on the space station and make difficult choices about, you know, who you want to support and how you want to support them. But ultimately, you know, the game has your back. Like, it's very humanist in its approach. Like, if you fuck up and make the wrong call, one of your friends is going to step in and help you. And the more money you make and the more financially secure you become, the more you're able to help the people you care about. You don't like get a dope apartment. You just have more bandwidth to do the right thing and help the people around you. And it's like legitimately, like, not just as a video game, but like as a piece of art, Citizen Sleeper is it had a tremendous impact on me at like a existential level. That's kind of what that started to remind me of until they said the thing about the most powerful weapon in the universe, and then it just sounded like Bright, which is bad.
Well, yeah, because it's like you know, the spaceship's run by a dark god, you know, and it's like I'm not going to go out for my boss, the dark god, and get him the second most powerful weapon in the universe to save my workplace crush.
He didn't want the other most powerful, you know.
And quickly, I'll do these last two. Mega action hit. After Hollywood's leading action star hits his head on set and wakes up thinking he's a real-life action hero, he embarks on an international mission to track down a real stolen nuke before it's too late. This is just The Last Action Hero, but without the cinema portal, essentially.
I would watch Ryan Reynolds do that. So like Avatar 1.
Oh, okay. Okay, interesting. You've gone
seems like a Reynolds flick.
Like a free, you're like a free guy, like, you know, quirky, funny. Yeah. I was going for Last Action Hero, kind of serious, but kind of not serious, and Arnie, and a movie, and a real mean-looking guy.
This is gonna sound like a joke. Could we put Keanu Reeves in this? It sounds like a film he'd flourish in. It's not a bit. I think he'd be good at it.
Keanu's working on bikes and a million Matrix remakes, mate. He's booked up, okay? He doesn't need this. And plus, he's already got Speed 3 on his books that we've got him working in.
John Wick 10 soon, presumably.
And the last one is Cheat Day. When a young woman in a decade-long heterosexual relationship realizes she needs to explore her bisexuality, she and her boyfriend institute a cheat day, 24 hours in which they can do whatever and whomever before deciding whether to get engaged or break up. So I would rewrite this tagline to very simple, 4 words: The Purge, but fucking.
Oh.
Yeah.
I would rewrite this to the show. Oh god, this exists on Netflix. Someone made this. What's it called? This exists. This show exists.
Downton Abbey.
You, Me, Her. The show already exists. Someone made this. You don't need to watch this. It exists.
Right. So this is a big old ripoff, is what you're saying. Okay.
It's actually, You, Me, Her is like a really good show. I cried multiple times. I cry in everything, so that's not really good heuristic, but it's fine.
That's why I am concerned to go see The Whale in cinemas, because everyone is crying in this movie, and it's a big return to form of our beautiful shining beacon, Brendan Fraser, and I think I'm going to cry in public, and it's going to be uncomfortable, but we're going to do it anyway.
I have it. I have an issue where, like, if I'm emotionally engaged in the film, it's all over. I'll cry at the drop of a hat. I think one of the things that is like really interesting, my therapist pointed this out, not me, is when I'm really depressed. Like, I've been pretty depressed like the last 2 months. When I'm really depressed, I cry when characters do something that makes them really happy. And I was saying to my therapist the other day, I can't think what it was. I think it might have been I was watching Parks and Recreation of all things. Right. And Leslie did something. Oh, that's right. It's that episode where Leslie gives Ron the instructions to go to the Lagavulin brewery, and he reads the poem. He's sitting up on the cliffside, and he's reading the poem. And I was crying because I was like, that's the nicest thing like that's just the you know, Leslie's whole purpose in life is like, it has this monologue of like April before it, which is like, you know, Leslie's purpose in life is she's found her purpose on this earth, and that's to make other people's lives better. And then that happened, and I was like bawling my eyes out. My therapist was like, have you maybe noticed that like this could be like an indicator that your depression's bad, that like when someone else is happy you cry? And I was like,
and he said no, and that's mean to point out, quite frankly. And that's not made me happy. So
that's actually made me unhappy, which is not why I come here.
I'll throw this one at you. I had a grey on it. Grabies, maybes, obviously. So I didn't know if I was going to read this one. Beechwood, shunned by elite society as a member of the gig economy. A sociopathic dog walker infiltrates an exclusive LA community with designs of reaching the top of the neighborhood's social ladder.
Avatar one.
Yeah, I struggle to see how that would be. Maybe the screenplays are all good. We're just logline it.
No, but it lacks like a zhuzh. Like, I don't know, what I would say
that is what they say. That's the technical term. Yeah, it didn't zhuzh.
Yeah,
me.
that's the writing term. It lacks a zhuzh. Just thinking about this recently, and I think every pitch, because you messaged me you texted me the most bizarre text out of the blue. You were like, why the fuck is every pitch like, man likes and walks dog and bad thing happened? Like, you kind of texted me something like that, and I was like,
it's every log line for everything is always 100%. Like, after a husband and wife lose their child in a freak accident, they move to a small town where mysterious events begin to unfold. And I'm like, that's not giving me anything. I don't know what's happening here. You're not selling me on this.
I think the issue is like, they try not to be specific because they think that's like alluring, but like, tell them what, like, you don't have to give the game away, but like, tell them what's going on.
Yeah. Don't modern day trailer me where you give me too much info, but give me something. You know what I mean?
Give me some gristle to chew on. I am gonna request, because that was really fun when we did it. I think a recurring segment now needs to be like, you throw stories at me and I could do a log line. I think that's actually really fun. I had a really fun time doing that. That was a real brain. That was like
you nailed those first two.
It's like a brain teaser. Okay, look, I have two quicks of I'm leading into it. 2 quicks of business. Made the mistake, committing to it. 2 quicks of business before we get into the advice.
Hold on. Hey, don't make fun of my friend David, all right? He says words wrong sometimes.
Stop giggling.
Stop laughing in the back there.
I hear you on the bus giggling.
Yeah, he said 2 quicks of business, and that's not a thing. And he sounds a little bit fucking stupid right now, but we don't judge here.
I wouldn't say stupid, but that's fine.
Thank you.
Wouldn't have said stupid. You
take it away, David. They've settled down now.
Okay. All right. Well, you said that was James. I do need you as the producer of the show. Do you have the capacity currently to look something up and bring up the screen behind us? Can you do that? Is that within your capabilities?
Oh, let's give it a whirl, shall we?
But let's give it a crack. So I need you to Google Insta_Repeat, and I want you to bring that up for the video listener to see, and I'll describe what we're looking at.
Okay, let's see.
Have you heard of this before? Is my first question.
Insta_Repeat. I haven't.
Okay, this is gonna blow you. This won't blow your mind, but it will blow someone's mind.
Okay.
Just bring up the Instagram account.
Insta_Repeat. Okay.
So for the viewer at home and for the listener, Insta-Repeat is a Instagram account which collates Instagram images on the platform Instagram that are almost identical. And the whole purpose of the project is to demonstrate how the entire exercise of social media is in replicating something you think people want to see. And it is legitimately mind-blowing when you look at it for a length of time. Have you bring up the rain jacket, like the orange rain jacket one that I'm looking at? Can we make that bigger?
This is the only struggle though, is that I can't scroll it down. Hold on, let me just fucking I'm a jank this live.
OBS? Yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
So what we're looking at is a collage of images where someone has taken a photograph of someone from behind, in an orange jacket, looking out at a landscape that is supposed to be like inspiring or like thoughtful, whatever. And this entire
Oh,
account,
David, I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
I'm fucking chuffed off me bits with wanderlust right now. I want to go exploring from these medium close up of person's back centered wearing orange.
I want to get that well-worn boot goofing going on.
Yeah.
That travel boot goofing.
I'm quite frankly, I keep looking at my shoes and I'm disgusted about how unsoaked they are by adventure. You know what I mean?
These to be just drenched in adventure. Now this won't be this account shouldn't be surprising to someone like you, but I was interested in your thoughts because you work in the marketing space, you think about social media a lot, we talk about social media a lot. Someone sent this to me and was like, hey, I think you'll be interested in this as an idea. Now, obviously, as the dinosaur of the show, right, as the non-online guy, I found this fascinating, but not surprising. Like, I get it. Like, I understand it.
Also wearing he's wearing a dinosaur shirt right now as well.
I'm also Dinosaur Park. Shout out Sanspence Radio.
David's wearing a self-portrait t-shirt that he got made at Printify. That's
actually Jackson Bailey right there from Sanspence Radio as a dinosaur in Dinosaur Park. Shout outs the Sanspence boys. But yeah, I guess I was really interested in your thoughts because I looked at it and I went, yeah, like that kind of makes sense. Like people are going to replicate what they think people want to see. But where I think this is really interesting is we talked a little bit, maybe like November ish about this idea of like, I think a lot of people struggle to understand the way that young people perceive social media. And this for me crystallized an idea, which is, I think sometimes, as curmudgeonly adults, we have this tendency to be like, oh, like, like kids are like totally online and like it's all like parasocial relationships or whatever. But I think this for me is like similar to what Bo Burnham talks about, which is this idea that like it's not that they're terminally online and they're addicted to their phones. It's that they see reality as a virtual experience to funnel into these platforms. They are creating moments to look back on. They're not having a moment and thinking, I should capture that. They are doing activities where they can create a moment, frame it like you're seeing here,
Yep.
Literally frame it in this case. Obviously, I'm being allegorical in what I mean by framing, but creating a frame to look back on and then say, yeah, that was like a satisfactory moment. Like it's converting the real world into a virtual environment in which to create moments to look back on and sort of say, yes, I was a satisfied participant. My life looks good on paper, rather than having a moment and then someone happening to capture it. And
right.
That sounds trivial, but they are tremendously discreet, I think.
Right. Well, it's because
this account for me is just really illustrative of that.
Well, I mean, and again, being this sort of terminally offline person, you wouldn't know about living for the gram. And I think that that's sort of, a pretty big issue here, because you got to live for the gram. And the whole world is a stage. I don't know if you know that, but the whole world, it's a stage. And my phone is my paintbrush, and my life is a canvas. And, so I'm just doing it for the gram. Popularized, obviously, by the Vine. That was a Vine thing? Do it for the gram. Yes, it was.
Do it for the gram. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just switching headsets because my headphones are dying.
And you sort of don't feel the need to sort of paint and weave a wonderful tapestry of photos digitally for sort of an faceless, amorphous audience of people who you will, and let's not forget, because we covered a story like where someone full-blown attacked a member of their family, made them feel like shit, and made someone else, and made multiple members of their family feel like shit because they were like, no. This is a really good picture of me, of person centered in paved road with trees either side,
But this is somewhat, I guess, that one of the through lines that we've been kind of discussing over the length of the show is like, you made the point of that episode, which I listened back to recently, and you made the argument of like, they literally were like, these are the people that love and support me, and I'm going to ignore their needs in favor of this platform. And like, it's not just in favor of this platform; it's to curate an image.
Yeah.
I mean that not as an I don't mean like I don't mean literally taking an image. I mean like curating like a
an image of yourself, like a personal brand, if you will.
A constructed sense of self, like Foucault would call it, like the kind of like the simulacra.
Yeah.
You know,
Hemingway called it your digital face.
Your digi self.
Yeah.
But it's like, you know, it's not simulation, it is simulacra, because simulation, like, you're trying to create something that you're trying to recreate an experience to the extent where you feel it. So like method acting for in that context would be like, you recreate something so close to the real experience that you're able to experience the thing that's happening. Simulacra is like, you are pretending or acting, or you're creating the image of the thing, and in doing so, it's necessarily disingenuous because you can't feel that thing, and you're pretending to feel it. And there's something happening with I mean that specific example of like Insta-Repeat, of like, you get somewhere like just for a minute, you get on a plane to a country you've never been to. You spend a ton of money on it. You have to carve out this part of your life with people to travel with, or you by yourself, or whatever it is. You have to make plans. You have to book things and do this, do that. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're on impulse, whatever it is. And you get to a place, wherever it is, so, like somewhere in nature, that is so transformatively beautiful that it reminds you. It should remind you of like just the bigness of everything. Just how small we are, and how incredible it is that like a bunch of bits of carbon came together to form a monkey, which made a cheetah, which made a dude, right? Like, and then those dudes were smart enough to make fucking airplanes and fucking iPhones and fucking Twitch.tv, and you're in that place, and you're looking at a beautiful vista that is fucking impossible. Like, imagine you're at the Grand fucking Canyon. Something that is so like inconceivably large in its scale that it reminds you of how conceivably small you are in the scale of just existence. And like you know, we are all of us sitting on the long end of the pier of time. We're dangling our toes in the new part of time every fucking day. No one has experienced the moment we're experiencing ever. And you're in that moment. And the thought that you have been programmed to have is, I'd better find a way to gram this.
Well, yeah.
That's fucking terrifying. Like the arresting beauty of existence is laid out before you, and your fucking dopamine receptor is like, better find a way to get some likes on that. Like that, if I traveled all this way and this fucking photo only does 37 likes and 6 comments, I might end it. I would go to the Green Canyon and chuck myself off. We should be terrified of this. Like
this is so you're thinking about this from like a really like grand scale. There's also I don't know if it's I can't remember what it is called, but there's something that astronauts experience when they come back to Earth, and it's sort of like this post viewing of the globe depression. I think it's the overview effect, which is a cognitive shift reported by some astronauts while viewing the Earth from space. Researchers have characterized the effect as a state of awe with self-transcendent qualities precipitated by a particularly striking visual stimulus. So these guys, they go up to space, they see Earth from this vantage point, and then they'll, it starts putting into perspective like how meaningless life is, how
it's hard
small
to do
they
laundry after that.
Exactly, yeah, and they return to Earth and they're like so fucking sad about it, which quite frankly they probably wouldn't have felt so sad about it if they were doing it for the gram, but they weren't, so fucking jokes on them.
Also, the same thing happens with Avatar apparently, so I don't know what to make of that.
Oh no, yeah, post-Avatar depression.
Post-Avatar depression?
Yeah, the
So,
post-Avatar
like,
blues.
It's
But this, I can't watch a piece of content where someone I can't in my head I can't just look at it and see it for what it is. I think about everything that went into it. I think about how they got out of bed, they set up the camera, they hit record, they ran back over to bed, they got into bed, pulled all the covers back up, set their alarm to go off, so yeah, and then wake up.
It all. Yeah.
And this weird performative aspect of these videos, and then even worse when they're ones like, I mean, one of the most bizarre ones that I saw recently was, maybe this is something different where it's just that is people performing for the internet.
That's different. Yeah.
I can't help but see and think of all of the parts that went into that. The ideation, the setup, the creation, the editing, the posting, the tagging, all of that stuff. But then there's another aspect to it, which I saw one yesterday of a woman in what I can only describe as the most intense throes of grief, right? She discovered that her and her boyfriend haven't been intimate for a while, and she discovered that he, in his Dropbox file or whatever, has a bunch of like nudes from other people, right? So she finds that out. But so the only reason we know that that's happened is because that's the text that's on the screen. The video is her heaving and like crying, and this really, honestly, you would think she, like a loved one, just died in her arms. You know what I mean? Like it was.
Well, that's
the most intense, fucking visceral reaction of this. Oh, and crying, but filming herself and looking down to like make sure that she's still in shot. But while doing this, it is the most bizarre fucking thing to watch, that people are just filming this side of life.
So 2 things on that. First, I mean, psychologists we've talked about before. I don't have a source to cite, so don't fucking at me about this. But like, realizing a relationship is over, particularly big ones like that is like grieving. Like it's very, very
of course, yeah.
What's weird about that is that
it was porn. Really quick, it wasn't just like nudes, it was porn, and she considers porn cheating. So
okay, whatever.
Either way,
either way, yeah. The other thing that's weird about that is like it's an authentic emotion you're feeling.
Yes,
but it is being performed is not the right word, but I can't think of a better word. But it's being performed.
In a way, yeah.
I don't think that makes it doesn't make it less authentic, but it makes it something else. Like it's transformative to that grief, where I'm thinking about my own experience where
it's because of everything that goes into it. Where you're thinking about, I'm going to record this to post it to
instead of being present fully in the grief, right?
Yeah.
Like I think about the worst breakups I've been through, and on the phone to someone I care about, just like fucking just a complete mess. And like that experience is you're completely in it. Like it's fucking existentially consuming. Like it's all you're thinking about. It's every emotion you feel is about this thing. And you're not worried about like, you're not going through this procedure of like social mores and like a social contract. You're on with your best mate and you're just fucking, or like a better example is like, it's fucking 2 a.m. You're sitting in the shower crying. Like there's no performance to that. The idea that emotion could be performed and should be performed is so bizarre. And I don't know, like it, on the one hand, I get it. If we're thinking about like the simulation, simulacra stuff, like I understand it. is easier to deal with if you can find a way to perform it because it helps you process it. But like, I don't know, the whole Insta-Repeat thing just really it really just set me. I had to sit back and be like, that is really something to think about. Like it is like that's the human experience for some people now.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And that's really fascinating and kind of freaks me out because it's really foreign to me. And like it could be good, right? We don't know what the research looks. I mean, every research on social media is like shit's poison for your brain. It could be good. It doesn't feel like it is. But like
hooked yourself
me,
on
like,
poison.
That's really scary. I'm like, you know, I the second I saw that, I was like, I need to talk to James about this because I couldn't. It was like a fucking earworm. Like I couldn't get it out of my brain.
Yeah.
That some people, I didn't have the terminology for, which I appreciate, which is like some people do live for the gram, and like that's, I don't know how else to explain it other than like the fact that we're alive at all is both at once a ridiculously vanishing possibility, but also the most likely thing that could have happened to you. And that paradox is what life is like trying to work that out. And like life doesn't really have a meaning, and that's okay. And like, but that paradox is like the thing that sits at the core of it. But if you gaze at that paradox and your brain's response is like, I see what you're saying, but what if I just feed myself on dopamine forever, trying to recreate what I think a good life looks like? That really scares me of like, I find that really confronting. In a genuinely like a philosophical, like existential kind of way. Like I find that
I think it's going to be
genuinely confronting.
It's going to be the vaping of social media. We're doing it now, but we don't know what the ramifications are of it in the long run. And it's like, it's only now really that people are realizing, you know, more and more people are getting like popcorn lung and all this stuff from vaping. And they're like, oh, it turns out like breathing things into your lungs when that isn't air it ends up being bad in the long run. You know, and I'm not throwing shade at anyone, you know, fucking do your own thing. I smoked for like fucking 10, 12 years or however long. But yeah,
James, without blowing up your spot, James's lungs, not great with smoke.
Oh,
like
made a piss.
Like you can tell, like it sounds hard. Like it's not,
It's and also because fucking God, do I love cigarettes, and everything about a cigarette, you know, they're having one with a coffee, having one after a meal, you know, or having one with a drink and all that stuff. If I had fucking lungs that could handle smoking, I'd be right there doing it 24/7. But I can't because they put me in hospital, the fuckers. But I just think that like this is going to make us get to a point where we don't see quite what the effects are of it right now, but it can't be good. It can't be good. And it's going to rear its head at some point as something real bad. And we're going to look back and be like, oh, it might have been the fact that, you know how we used to hide our most deeply shameful moments
we've already seen it. Like we had January 6th. Like we've seen it in action. Like this stuff intersects with like radicalization and performance and insecurity and like the manosphere. At least like we're seeing little blips of it, which aren't being persecuted, by the way, which is really concerning. But like we're seeing the leakage of the most extreme parts of it. To your point, what does the majority outcome look like?
Yeah.
Right? Like we've seen the extreme stuff. Like, you know, we saw the Christchurch shooting, we've seen January 6th, but like what is the what does the middle of the bell curve outcome look like? You know? Like that's the bit that's really scary to think about.
And also that but then it might end up being like really beneficial where people are transcending, because so a lot of the things will be like deeply embarrassing to do in the moment. To get the picture, to get the little video or the snippet or whatever, people will just, in a cinema filled with people, fully turn their camera around with their friend and like do a flash, light up the whole fucking place to get the picture of like, hey, we're at the cinema or whatever. Something that is like should be so deeply embarrassing to do in the moment. But it's like the goal of doing it for the fucking gram transcends my fear into bravery, and I'm willing to do fucking anything to get that picture. Maybe that turns out to be a good thing, or
I mean,
really
James,
bad. It's not going to be. It's not going to be negligible either way. It's either going to be really
James,
great or really bad.
James, that rhetoric led to an insurrection on the Capitol in the US. I think it's probably shame. It turns out is a pretty useful mechanism in a developed society.
Yeah, that's
what
true.
I would say.
Yeah, people without shame are my least favorite people.
Shame is what leads to the Karens of the world. Okay, like them not feeling shame is why they feel okay with like screaming down a barista or a server or something. Like the rest of us, and you know, what we do is we take that shame and we transform it into like gratitude and kindness. They take that shame and they transmogrify it into like bold douchebag. Like
they take it.
I know what you're saying.
Alchemy, but transform it into some of the worst experiences known to man
that you could have on the planet. So I mean that wraps up our weekly segment of like talking about the existential dread of social media. I've not been able to stop thinking about it. Like it's been this. Okay, no, I one more thing to say and then I'll move on. I promise. This is an advice show where we do advice. I think. One last thing.
We're doing the advice one right now. Oh shit! Okay.
I thought we were doing the big boys talk big ideas pod. Fuck, that's a good name for a we need to bleep that. Big boys, big ideas.
It's out there. It's already streamed. Fuck. It's in the public domain.
But live streams go away, right? You can't watch this later.
Yeah.
It just goes away.
It just goes away.
Yeah, that's what
graffiti.
That's
it's digital graffiti. We've touched on that before. Yeah.
Can't track back. Yeah. One last thing. I'll talk about this a bit more maybe next week if we have time. So I've been playing Marvel's Midnight Suns, which I didn't expect to be playing. And one of the core mechanics of that game is you hang out with a bunch of Marvel heroes, just like as dudes trying to save the world. You're at this like big abbey. It's basically it's like a college dorm, right? And one of the things that game does really well is explores like. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna try. It's not particularly deep, but like it has something to say.
It sounds like it's heading into X-Men territory. A bunch of people hanging out in the dorm who have special powers. Oh, I feel like I've heard that somewhere before, but yeah.
Yeah, but like some of the people are X-Men that are there.
Oh, okay.
But like you're the boss, and you have to like choose who to make friends with, and like it's not just who to make friends with. It's like you have to actually learn their interests and learn how to be friends with them. And some of them are younger people who are like on social media all the time,
right?
And you're this like you're a hunter you're like a demon hunter from like 300 years ago. You get resurrected in the present, and you have to kind of grapple with the fact that like Iron Man exists or whatever.
Yeah, right.
And, like,
you're like guys. Bobby, the Iceman guy, said I have L Riz, and I'm like not sure what that is. I tried to burn him though. So
it's legit stuff like that, and it's so funny and entertaining. Like it really is quite charming. But what ends up happening as you get further into the game and you get to know them more and more is like, your character catches up to the times. And you get to do maneuvers that I've never seen writers do before. Like legit, I've never seen this in anything before. Where you get to do things like, Peter Parker's worried about the fact that like his girlfriend hasn't Mary Jane hasn't texted him back or whatever.
There you go. Yeah.
And you get to be like, in the old days, it was all letters and shit, but it seems like this is a whole different environment. Why don't you like talk me through the social mores of it? And it like does a really good job of explaining to you, like, this is how, like the maneuver it does is it gets to explain it without being patronizing.
Right.
It's really, I'm blown away.
Sorry, I can't help but think of what the majority of people are going to say about a game like that, which is, when am I going to punch something in its fucking dick? When am I going to
do a lot of that?
It's like people with The Walking Dead or whatever. They're like, oh, I get it. Character development and building relationships and caring about these people. fucking cut something's head off, cunt.
It's literally it's like 15 minutes of a mission where you go out and kill demons, and then it's like 2 hours of like,
and then we come
chilling
home
with
and
your pals.
Yeah, and we really sort of have like a deep and introspective chat about what that means for all of us, and what impact that's really having on our psyche. You know, to have to chop a demon man in half. What's that doing to me?
Someone looked at my Christmas wish list and they were like, yeah, we got you, bro. It's so my bullshit and I love it. But I'll talk about it a bit more next week around like some of the stuff I want to bring to the show. But like we should probably do some advice maybe.
Probably. I think a solid hour into the show that we do about advice.
It's supposed to be an hour.
Yeah. We should probably do the advice part, I reckon.
Now I want to know your take. So you've popped 2 questions in.
They're so good too, but I think we have to go feature.
I think we just have to go the feature.
Yeah.
Did you read this one beforehand? Because you did the title.
No, I just sort of took your title and sort of jazzed it up a little bit. Yeah. I just want you to know that for everyone listening, sorry about getting deep down and dirty on some existential sadness, right? And making you think about. I still want all of you to do it for the gram, if that's how you live in your life. Okay,
if you want to do it for the gram, do it for the gram.
Do it for the gram. And
do it for the gram.
I just want you to know that you missed out on someone who, and we're definitely going to talk about the question next time, but
at some point,
someone's dad wants his entire family to keep their hair and give it to him so that he can have a big hair bonfire that he does, and he's had a couple of them. And the person writing the question was like, how do I fucking like not give my hair to my dad, because I have been trying to hide it and he keeps finding my fucking hair. Dude. So, you know, Dad's got a big old hair bonfire that he does every now and then, and he's just not producing enough of it for, you know, to be able to do it with his own hair. So we've all got to chime in with our hair to make it happen. But that's one for next time. That's one for next week.
When I read that question, I read it before I had a client call, and I was laughing so hard that I had to like pretend that my Zoom was updating to try and calm myself down.
Right, yeah. And you came into the chat and they had like a lot of hair, and that set you off again.
Yep. That is what happened. He's like a tech CEO, and he's got like all the hair that you could ever have.
And you go, oh, what a voluminous, you know, set of headphones you got there.
What a bountiful hair you have, sir. I'm a human that is from Earth.
All right, let's do this feature question.
Let's do it.
Our first and only piece of advice on this advice podcast. Okay.
Wait, hang on. We can't just do one. James, okay, really, really quickly. From Emil, K-Erp Akov on Quora. Question: which chemical is the most dangerous on Earth? Go.
The human spit.
Good call. I'm gonna say which chemical? Probably like really strong acid. Probably.
Yeah. Acid. Yeah. I'll tell you what. Acid. Probably up there. Probably up there. Yeah.
Maybe like a toxic goop that made the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Seems like it's pretty strong.
Yeah, but it's like, I feel, because, you know, and again, not to get too bogged down in this, but you throw a cup of toxic ooze on some turtles, you get the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, obviously. Mm-hmm. You throw a cup of acid onto the turtles, you get dead turtles. So yeah, okay. I would argue the acid's probably probably worse. Yeah.
In the rock, paper, scissors equation of acid versus ooze, acid wins.
Really quick, Shredder, is he a man or is he?
He's a guy. He's a guy.
He's a toxic ooze man. He's oozed up.
No.
Dude
he's
oozed up.
He's a guy. So here's a fun thing about Shredder and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in general. So guys, we will get to advice at some point. We're getting there.
We need to know why Shredder is as shredded as he is. Continue, David.
He is shredded. Yeah. So Shredder is the head of the Foot Clan. Now the Foot Clan is an offshoot of the Hand, which is a
connected
organization.
To the arm bone. Yeah, continue.
So so did you know? Ba-dum. Did you know that the same ooze that creates the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is the same chemical that blinds Daredevil and gives him his powers? And so the Hand in Daredevil comics, and indeed the show and the kind of collateral later, the Hand are a cousin organization to the Foot Clan, which are the bad guys in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. And so Shredder is one of the generals of the Foot Clan. Now, in the original continuity, he's just a guy. He's just a guy. In some of the cartoons, he's like the reincarnation of like some ancient samurai or something like that.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But it's kind of settled into like he's just a bad dude who doesn't really have any superpowers.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Also, I'm pretty sure Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was originally created as a parody of Daredevil, something like that. Also, Shredder...
I think it was... Yeah.
Shredder has that weird Shredder Man voice that he's got. So we're supposed to believe that just up until the point that he became a general of the Foot Clan, that he was what? Just fucking like talking,
I think it's just the helmet.
Talking how he... It was the helmet. Okay. So they Darth Vadered him. All right. Well, that's bullshit.
Yeah, it's not. He's not a particularly interesting villain either, is what I would say. I know someone's gonna at me about that. But I just wanted to make sure we didn't just do one piece of advice, that we didn't tarnish our record. Let's move on. Feature question: how do I stand up to my older neighbor? And you've titled this "Fisticuffs with the Folks Next Door. Should I fight my neighbor?" I'm 27, female. I live with my fiance and our 3-year-old son. My neighbor, who's in his 60s, sold us the house. Not only did he lie about the basement flooring, he's also quite misogynistic and makes rude comments about me clogging the drains with feminine hygiene products, instead of admitting that the basement flooded before we moved in. We live in a private lane. He narrows the entrance to the lane where he lives with barricades so no one accidentally drives onto his grass. The issue here is that fire trucks can't get back to our lane. The borough we live in doesn't see it as a problem, and he doesn't care. He got mean with me today for asking about it. I don't know how to stand up for myself. I'm afraid of getting into it with someone who lives right beside me.
Yeah.
I've been taught to kill with kindness, but I'm afraid I just look weak and dumb. When he's being an ass, what do I say? How do I grow a set? Now, you know, the scenario here, I've cut a little bit of text here, but basically what this guy's doing is they live on like kind of a busy street, and people are often pulling in, like parking in the laneway. You know, it's like 2 townhouses, so he's at the front, they're at the back. People parking there, and so what he's done is he's put a barricade up so that only one car can get through, and that's obviously dissuaded people. But you know, quite correctly, like a fire truck can't get to the back house, and if there's an issue, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So you know, what do I say when he's being an ass? How do I grow a set? He's a misogynistic kind of older guy. He also sold us the house, right? And he lied about the basement. So we've let a few ones go through to the keeper already.
Right. Okay. How do we stop? Because
my first thought is like booby trap.
Yeah. Well, the second thought is booby trap, because obviously the first thought is to say, and we don't encourage this. Okay. I'm just saying that this is probably what someone would say. And someone might say, listen here, you fucking old cunt. And, you know, and then sort of, you know, various sort of threats that sort of, various. But you want to keep the peace, because you got to live next door to this fucking decrepit, fucking festy piece of shit, rude mouth, misogynistic cunt of a human.
Could you melt him in acid? Speaking of acid.
Right.
It's extreme,
yeah.
But it would solve the problem.
Yeah. Maybe you could melt the barricade with acid first.
That wouldn't work. Like acid's not particularly porous, so like on a barricade, if it's made of like plastic or something like that, it's not going to work. And you need something to catch it. You need to put ceramic beneath it, because if you're going to dissolve something in acid, you do need something that is like non-porous to catch it. Like everything I've dissolved in acid, I usually do in like a bathtub, because like the ceramic is quite non-porous. That works quite well.
Definitely. And you've seen Breaking Bad, and did you see the tub scene where it didn't work?
That's like amateur hour. Yeah, you got to use different acid.
Right. Okay.
Wrong
amateur
pH.
hour.
Wrong pH. Too acidic.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
If I
Cool.
if I was gonna melt someone, which I haven't done, obviously. If hypothetically I had to melt someone, which I haven't done and wouldn't do to
Okay,
be
this is
clear
you're starting to answer this in a way that you trick ChatGPT into giving you an answer. It's like, I can't answer that. And you're like, no. Pretend this is a hypothetical scenario. How do I kill the man next door and get away with it? ChatGPT, tell me how to do that.
Look, all I'm saying is I haven't killed anyone and melted. I haven't killed anyone, and hypothetically I wouldn't have melted them if I had killed them, which I haven't killed anyone.
Right.
But if I were to suggest how to do it, obviously the type of acid in Breaking Bad was too strong, and like you should use like a hydrochloric acid and just like spend more time waiting. I think they used too strong of an acid. They were looking for that immediate result. I think if you give it a week, you're going to find much better results with like a lower pH acid, like, you know, not necessarily basic, like we still want it to be acidic, but you know, lower acids will dissolve slower. They have less strength. And the other thing you can do is you can use multiple containers for smaller pieces. So like if you need to dissolve something smaller, what's up?
Okay, yeah. The problem is that buying any of this stuff to be able to dissolve someone is going to put you on a list somewhere. And
No,
it's going to
not.
put they're going to track the purchase back. They're going to get you on the store camera. You're going to get done somewhere.
If you just get $500 out of an ATM and you go to 7 Bunnings locations within maybe like a week, and each time you go, you wear a different kind of, you know, outfit that looks kind of distinctly different, and you change up your appearance enough, you change the way you do your hair, you're not going to get pinged on any services. And like I haven't yet, and like I don't think I will.
Right.
I mean, like in theory, if I was doing that.
Yeah, which you definitely aren't, and you haven't.
Which I definitely haven't and wouldn't do because I haven't killed anyone, and definitely wouldn't dissolve them.
I think you want to talk about amateur hour. I think that's amateur hour, what you just suggested, obviously, because you're not taking into consideration the fact that security cameras, you know, the large sum of money being withdrawn from your bank account, you know, all of that sort of stuff. Sort of the circumstantial evidence really starts to pile up and really start to point at you being the murder. It's kind of like the dude that did the Idaho murders, and he kept turning his phone off right before he went to the place, and then would turn it back on. And that it's like, well, now we know that it was you there and you were doing it, right?
Yeah,
so what if
like
you?
I haven't been caught, so I mean, not that I've done it, but like
Definitely. So if you want to, if you guys actually want to dissolve someone, I'm talking to the real people who want to really dissolve someone.
Here we fucking go.
That's not going to put you on any list.
Oh, my name's James. I really want to dissolve a man. I get it. Whatever, man. That's very pretentious of you.
Go to your local Woolworths, your Coles. Maybe they might be a little bit too expensive. So maybe you seek sort of like an independent fruit and veg shop, right? Support your local businesses. And you're going to want to buy a lot, and I mean a lot, of pineapples. Now, pineapples are acidic, so much so that they're the only fruit that bites back. So that tingling feeling that you feel when you eat pineapple, that's it dissolving your body. So if you get enough of them and you're patient enough, you're going to need so many pineapples and so much time. But again, it's not going to put you on any list like fucking rinky-dink fucking $500 from an ATM to get over here. And you're going to want to put them in the bath with all your pineapple and just wait. And also, you're welcome. So.
Okay. That was
also Sam and I live down the road from a place where a guy in Brisbane, this is a couple of years ago now, did actually, he's a chef, cut up his girlfriend, and I think they were a female. They were trans, so I'm pretty sure they went by like female pronouns, and cut her up, and then tried to boil and cook her down so that he could sort of dispose of the body. Obviously, cooking a human being is pretty stinky. So that sort of alerted people in the building to like something real stinko's going on. And then the, scene missing, police end up showing up, and They open the door. He sees the police there, and he literally just takes off running. And so they chase after, and that's how they find, you know, all of the stuff where, you know, the woman's been like cooked down and everything like that. But don't worry, it has an even worse ending.
No.
He hid in a trash can, killed himself. So
James,
sorry, but I'm
I'm
just saying that when you dissolve people, when you try to dissolve
there
people,
are consequences.
there are consequences. Okay, just like viewing the globe, right, from the vantage of space,
or watching
right?
Avatar.
Yeah, and just like killing a bunch of demons as a superhero, and just like trying to cook down another person's body. All of those experiences are going to have an impact on you, okay? That's what I'm saying. And it's not going to be good.
It's what we call emergent properties of phenomenology, right? You exist in a time and place, and there are going to be emergent properties of your existence. And it turns out, if you try and cook your girlfriend, one of the emergent properties is the cops might find you.
Yeah.
So that's something to think about. Now, it seems like murder might be off the table, just based on that.
It's absolutely off the table. Yeah, it's off the table. Yeah.
Okay. Now, you know, our goal here is like we want to keep our family safe.
Yes.
Could you, and I don't know how this works legally, like if you're gonna get fined, could you call the fire department? Let them deal with it. Sir, I need to get into that lot. You need to move this barricade. Could you sort of, and then when he asks, I don't know how, don't know why. And maybe, but you might get fined if there's no fire. Could you set your house on fire?
You absolutely will get fined. You will get
brigade.
fined for calling them.
Yeah, but if there's actually a fire, that's their job. Just
that's true. It is true, but
could you set?
There's an easier way to do this.
There's consequences.
Yeah, I was gonna go with sort of like a Rear Window / Disturbia type approach, where, you know, we monitor the guy next door. We see when he comes and goes, and when he dips out, we send someone over there. Oh, David's frozen. He's back. Never mind. Digital Dave is back. We monitor what he's up to, right? We head over there when he's out, and we call the fire department from his phone. And then we dip back out. We come back over to our place. And then right as he's coming back home and he goes inside, right, couple minutes later, you're going to have to time this pretty well, okay? You're going to have to monitor his routines
sort of
pretty closely.
Ocean's 11 style production.
He pulls into the driveway, gets his groceries out, walks inside, and then 30 seconds to a minute later, fire truck rounds the corner, tries to get in, can't, barricades in the way. Bing, bang, boom. He gets the $2,500 to $5,000 fine for calling in a false fire, and we highlight the problem with the authorities.
Mm-hmm.
Solved.
I think that's pretty tidy. There is a lot of moving parts. Is my only
we didn't say that fucking solving things is going to be easy, David, okay? Sometimes it's as simple as a Home Alone style paint can around your banister that you launch at your friend's face, okay? And sometimes it's a very elaborate Ocean's 11, 12, 13 Rear Window Disturbia type sting monitoring your next door neighbors.
And if we're being honest, most times for me, it's fake your death and move countries.
That is
true. Which is not easy to do. So I do bring that. Well, it's a good piece of advice.
My other thought was to hire local youths to, in the middle of the night, lift the barricade and put it in front of his door, sort of trapping him inside. And then so when he sort of has to fandangle another way out, and then he's all like, "Oh, bloody people," you know, and then you get to highlight to him. You're like, "Yeah, it's difficult.
Inconvenient? Yeah,
it's difficult to get in and out when there's a fucking barrier in your way, isn't it, you dumb cunt?" You know.
Or have the youths split the barricade, block all of his means of exit, and then set his house on fire.
Then we call the fire brigade, and we're a hero.
The hero, and the barricade gets burned, and he learns a lesson.
Oh, and he's so thankful to us.
And he's so great because we saved his life.
And he says, "You know what, Lauren, get your husband. This revelation that I've had, the flames literally licking around my heels, and I thought this was it. You know, I thought that this was my final moments. And obviously, because it's such a pinnacle moment in my life, I am gramming it. I am mid-gram on my death.
Ob's gramming it.
Yeah.
But also, I'm going to give you my fortune and my chocolate factory in my will. So,
okay. I was going to suggest that he spends some money to fix their basement because he sort of feels bad about sort of stiffing them out of some cash.
No, you just get my chocolate factory and my glass elevator to the moon or whatever, however that story ends.
Exactly. And instead of getting nothing, you lose. Good day, sir. You get everything. You win. You're chuffed.
James, sometimes, and I don't want to overstate, but I will be honest, sometimes we do such a good job that I'm embarrassed for other advice podcasts.
I often feel that way if I'm honest with myself.
We're obviously the first and last advice podcast on the internet. I understand that. You understand that. But some other people have been like, podcast advice. And like, when we do such a good job, like we just did, you have to kind of think about what kind of like, you know, the impact that has on their morale. And I feel kind of bad because it's
that is true. Yeah, we need to
solve that so well.
Yeah,
that's got to be embarrassing. It's got to feel bad to be not us.
We really need to start. We need to start considering the impact that, you know, very much like the people who are inventing and iterating and perfecting AI to essentially put us all out of a job and wipe us off the face of this earth. You and I do need to have somewhat of like a retrospective moment and just sort of think to ourselves and internalize, what is being this good at advice and putting it on the internet? What does that do to other people who are also trying to do advice and put it on the internet or other formats, you know, like an advice column or things like that? You know,
I guess my hope is that it encourages them to dig deep and really put their best foot forward.
Yeah.
And then maybe quit if they can't live up to our expectations so that we become the first and last advice show on the internet.
I will say, if I could give them any advice.
Hey, is that sanctioned? Can you give advice to advisors?
Can it be done? We're about to find out.
Can we check with the lawyers? Is that all right?
They are, two of them are nodding and two of them are shaking their head. So we're just going to plow ahead. Okay. My advice would be, one, don't be afraid to get real low and real dark.
So deep and dark.
Because it's that re-emerging, you know, that resurfacing.
That contrast.
Like a shark swims down and then swims back up. You know what I mean?
Like a noose gets dark in the middle and then at the edges gets bright again.
Yeah. My advice to you is don't step on my advice with your Norse stuff, okay? I don't know. Guys, I'd like to apologize to you that David's gone. But again, sorry, I actually don't apologize because what David's done there is he's not afraid to get down and dark to re-emerge triumphant. And he's really just illustrated that there for you. So thank you so much, David, for sort of further illustrating my point. Thank you. Thank you for doing that. We've broken David. He loves a good nuss joke. He loves a good nuss joke, doesn't he?
Sorry. You look so unimpressed.
Well, I just sort of,
my stomach
it took me a minute to sort of
no, it did.
realize what you were doing with it, and you were illustrating my point. And thank you so much for doing that. We've lost him. I'm just saying, sometimes when you give an advice, don't be afraid to talk about someone cutting up cooking, boiling down a loved one, and then killing themselves. You know, maybe do sort of look, we're not journalists here, so we don't really. We're just gonna brush over that part. But I'm just saying, don't be afraid to get down dark and dirty to reemerge with great advice. I will also say that my second piece of advice is don't be afraid to swing for the fences. And my third piece of advice, I'm gonna be honest, I've completely forgotten what it is.
I would say our third piece of advice is if you're cooking like a steak, like anything you're like pan frying, chucking in a skillet, chucking on a grill, pre-season at least an hour before you're cooking it, you'd be surprised how much of a difference it makes. Just like give it like an hour, like literally just like salt and pepper an hour ahead of time.
Definitely.
Pop it back in the fridge, like just uncovered. And then when you cook it, you're going to be surprised at the results.
Definitely.
It's not specific to advice shows. It's just like good life.
No,
advice.
but sort of what I was doing was I was giving advice specifically to people who give advice. So if you could tie that analogy, or if you could make it an analogy for giving good advice, I'd be really personally really appreciative of that, and it would sort of tie into what I was saying.
So in that scenario, it's an analysis. So the meat itself, like the thing you're cooking, is the show that you're making. Okay, right.
Okay,
that's you're chucking it in the oven.
Hold on.
Let
me write this down. This down.
So the steak equals advice show. Okay.
The steak is the advice.
Yep.
Steak is the advice.
The advice show. That's the show you're making.
Right, but what if they're a columnist or
you asked? That wasn't part of the brief.
That was exactly what I was talking about. I was talking about people who give advice professionally. Is what I was talking about. My advice to you is to fucking open your ears, cunt, and to just quickly double check to make sure that they're not painted on.
The steak is the content you're making.
The steak is the content that I make. I'm gonna have to fucking draw a line through that.
Don't be difficult.
You're making
very cantankerous. And the pre-seasoning, right? Ahead of time is the
pre-season. Yeah.
Pre-season is the pre-production, right? It's pre-season equals pre-production. You're going to want to sit and think about how is this advice going to impact the people.
Give her a think. Yeah. Okay.
And that's you're going to really want to think about, like, who does that impact? What is that going to do for my colleagues? How is it going to help the person? And you're going to let it marinate. And then the cooking of the advice steak.
The cooking
is the recording of the show, the making of the show.
The making.
And the outcome, the steak that you're eating, jumping down on for dinner, the meal that you're having,
the meal
equals the final product, the final podcast, the final advice,
final
content, whatever that
product.
Yeah.
Final product.
And
okay, so
if
just
you can, read that back.
Let me just sort of. I am going to just tear that out of my book because I don't want that in there anymore. Because I'm going to frame it, obviously. Because I'm going to frame this wonderful piece of advice that you've given.
Like you like, but that's fine.
So this fucking thing right here, right? This is. If you haven't listened to anything in the past 1 hour and 26 minutes, I would advise you to listen up right now because you're about to get a gem. Now, just to bring it back, number one, don't be afraid to get low to come back high. Number two, don't be afraid to swing for the fences. And number three, steak is the content you're making. The pre-season of the steak is the pre-production. Give a think to it, let it sort of percolate in the brain. Give it a good little think. The cooking, that's the making. Of the advice, I'm not fucking sure, but it's the making. And the meal is the final product. Thank you so much for that. I'm going to keep this piece of paper so I can wipe my fucking ass with it later. And so...
Wow. You asked me for that. This is on you, not on me.
Yeah, and thank you so much. You really tied it all together in a lovely little bow that David likes to...
I do like to do that. Is that
it really is a skill.
I don't know if that was the bow, but...
That was the bow. That was no. I'm sorry, but that was the bow this week.
Okay.
The
That's
bow
fine.
this week was that.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Well, hey, thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of The Advisory, a advice podcast that we live stream every week, Thursday, 6 p.m. AEST on twitch.tv/Black Swan
Come
Society.
back next
you can
week
catch us there.
and see if we do advice on that
See
one.
if we do advice. I don't know. You don't know. We don't know. We're all growing and evolving, and everything is happening in
Do
time.
your protagonists of this advice show finally get to
Do advice?
the plot, the stake? So what they're doing is right now,
The steak, yeah.
Unfortunately, right now we're seasoning, and next week we're gonna cook it. So
We're
come
gonna
back for the
really
cooking.
cook it.
Yeah.
Come back for that. And if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I can't wait that long, that's so long from now, you can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter at BLK Swan Society. That's at BLK Swan Society. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. On TikTok, we're posting all kinds of fun clips that you can share with your niece and nephew. On Instagram, you can find us there doing identical images to everyone else on the platform. And on Twitter, who knows how long that's going to be around? Let's find out. If you think to yourself, those boys were so good with their advice that they definitely did this week. They for sure did advice this week.
Yeah,
and it
they
was
did.
such high quality. It was such high quality that you think to yourself, oh man, I want to ask them, I could use some help, or you just have some feedback, but only if it's positive. You can email us, blackswansociety.mail@gmail.com. That is blackswansociety.mail@gmail.com. Or if your ear's broken, you missed all of that, you can find all of the links and directions in the show notes of the episode you're listening to on your podcast catcher of choice on youtube.com/@Black Swan Society. Subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on YouTube. We've got a bunch of fun ideas for some other content we want to make, some short form content. It's going to be really, really exciting. Subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/@Black Swan Society, or just go to YouTube and search Black Swan Society. I guarantee we will show up right after the film.
Go there now. Do it now. Hit subscribe while you're listening. We're gonna wait. We're actually gonna wait.
We'll wait.
We'll sit. We'll wait. While you're doing that, I am gonna sort of just while you sort of bring up the app, you got to tab out of this. Obviously, just head over to the app there and search it. And while you're doing that, I'll sort of a lot of people they tend to post the same stuff across all of their platforms or whatever. But I just want to let you know that on TikTok you'll see some funny clips.
Mm-hmm.
On Instagram you'll see very tasteful nude photography of David, and on Twitter you will find T.S. Eliot style poetic musings sort of as we go about our days. So definitely not the same content posted across 3 separate channels.
Different. It's not
and you can subscribe. Awesome. Thank you so much for doing that. I appreciate it.
Appreciate that. And also maybe give this a like. It's up to you. Now, James, I would like to say that to the viewer or listener, wherever you're consuming this, whether it's on Spotify, iTunes, all the other, bullshit fucking podcast catchers they've made up that seem like they're fictional. Wherever you consume this, if there is a way to give our show a rating or a review, it really, really does help us and helps the show out. It helps more people find what we do. Really is beneficial. If you give us a funny and interesting review that is 5 stars, no more, no less, we might read it on the show. We really do appreciate it. It really does help other people find us. Otherwise, if we're being honest, the best way to help support the show is to send this episode to someone you think might enjoy it, whether it was the deep, philosophical part of it, whether it was the funny goofs, whether it was both. That is the best way to help support the show. People appreciate if you think, oh man, Glenn is gonna love this. Send it to Glenn. People really appreciate, one-to-one recommendations. That's the best way to help support the show. Otherwise, following us on the socials.
We do chapters in both.
We done got chapters. James does chapters.
On the YouTube and on the Spotify there are chapters. So if you even if you don't want the part where David said to set the neighbor on fire and then liquefy their corpse with acid. If you don't want to send them that bit and you sort of want to send them the good bit about the other fun stuff, maybe they're a really big shredder head and you want to send them just that
Shredhead.
one TMNT part, you'll be able to like find it in the timestamp. It'll be
Send
in
it
the
the
chapters, and then you can just send it from there. And then you can say, "Oh, check out this really sweet Shreddy Boy take, but don't listen to the rest of it, please." Like that. That's just an example of how you would share it with a friend.
It's pretty emphatic. Look, we live stream this next week we're doing Wednesday night, but usually Thursdays 6 p.m. AEST. You can find our schedule on twitch.tv/Black Swan Society for the live streams. I update that whenever we change it, like we are doing next week. The reason we're not doing it on Thursday next week is it's a really contentious day in Australia and it feels weird to do goofs and gaffs. So we thought, safe to move it to Wednesday and let Thursday be a day of mourning. We have all kinds of new ideas for 2023. We have a new show we are percolating on. We've got Weird But Wonderful in the wings, ready to settle down and become one of your main fixtures of your entertainment, coming very, very soon to your eyeballs. And our new show, hopefully after next Wednesday, we've got a production cycle. We'll know when that's coming out. We'll let you know. It's going to be really fun. It's going to be different. It's going to be really fucking weird for me to revisit something I wrote when I was like 18. It's going to be really fun and interesting. We're going to be adding some sizzle once we have a name for it and a way to find it over the next kind of few weeks as we work into that pre-production schedule. And just like, we don't say this enough, but like Black Swan Society, the whole point of this is we want to be creative. We want to take risks. We want to be a pirate town where, we can do things that are interesting. And that kind of breaks some boundaries of what we think the shape of a show might need to be, what we think an idea might need to be. And that's part of what we did today is like, it should be okay for like just to get really interested in something and talk about it. We really appreciate the heck out of you guys sticking around, being interested in it. It really does mean a lot to see so many people engaging with us regularly. It's really exciting to see people understand what we're trying to do. And we appreciate the heck out of you. But that'll do it for this week of the advisory. We are Black Swan Society, and we will catch you same bat channel, not the same bat time. We'll be one day ahead, Wednesday, 6 p.m. AEST next week. But on your podcast catcher of choice, it will be the same time it always releases. We'll catch you then. Thank you so much for watching and listening. Have a great day or evening, and don't melt your neighbors in a bathtub if you can help it.
Yeah, give that one a miss. Just for this week. Promise us
This week.
Just this week that you'll give it a miss. And you'll do something fun instead,
Maybe like go for a walk. Like I hear, get out in nature. It's good for you.
Maybe you could sort of like try and trick AI into coming up with ways to do stuff that it shouldn't. Like ask it how to sort of like get away with a murder or something like that. Or maybe not murder related, just sort of you ask chat. Actually, that's a good point. Just ask the AI to come up with some good ideas for things that it shouldn't tell you to do, and then try to trick it into getting it to do it for you. So have fun with that.
Or just, here's an idea. Go outside, do something. Don't Instagram it. That's my advice. We need to go.
Thank you so much. No, that's great, actually. I do love that. Yeah. That's David's advice. And my advice is do it for the gram this week. See you next week.